So to give everyone some context, I am a partner with the ladies community, and they are Toronto based, but a global community. And I believe there are almost 10,000 women inside of this community. And it has been such a great partnership because there are women who are pursuing betterment in their health, in their life, in their career. And I've been so lucky to be a partner for all of 2020 and be able to share what I'm passionate about. And I know that at the end of the day, not everyone is as obsessed with marketing as I am, but hey, that's why I'm here, I guess, is to share what I'm up to, share what lights me up in hopes that it helps you somewhere along your journey. And tonight, I'm thrilled to be able to share with you the 7 principles of marketing mastery that I believe every business owner must know, okay? So that's what we're getting into. If marketing confuses you, maybe you've worked in marketing before, or maybe you're just trying to figure this whole thing out because you're on the verge of starting a business, you'll be able to extract principles from the stories that I tell inside of this training. You'll be able to extract some action items through some of the challenges that I'm going to lead you with. So let's do this. If you do want to share any part of this presentation, please tag me on Instagram. I love hearing from you all. So if you snap a screenshot or if you get a really good nugget that you end up applying in your business tomorrow and it's successful, let me know. I want to get into a conversation with you, and let's stay connected through Instagram or on Facebook if you're watching over there. So just quickly, for those who I may not know yet, my name is Kelsey, and I am an online marketing and business coach. That's to put it very simply. Sometimes I have trouble distilling down who I am into just a few words because I love a lot of things. I'm very multi-passionate, but where my focus is today is helping aspiring and startup entrepreneurs to really uncover their brilliance and to accelerate their growth, especially those who are starting a business. I believe deep down in my soul that we all have the ability to share our gifts with the world. And for many people, that involves packaging it up and putting a price tag on it and selling it. And whether the goal is to scale that into a full-time income or to keep it as a side hustle, having a business where I feel like I can express myself has truly changed my life. It brings me so much joy every day, and I love showing others how to do the same. And on that note, being that business, we need sales. And to get sales, we often have to go to this thing called marketing. I love to chat about no BS marketing strategies. Now, a little backstory on that. I have taken some crazy coaching programs in my past where the marketing strategies just felt super icky to me. It was rooted in a lot of things that were just not aligned with how I wanted to be sold to, and I'll talk about that a little later. And so really, as I stand here today, I want to talk to you about no bullshit strategies. These are things that have been around since the dawn of time. They don't involve you signing up for an expensive software or some program that at the end of the day, like, that's someone's system, but it doesn't have to be yours, okay? So how I approach this topic of marketing, and for you guys, when I say marketing your business, it means increasing your sales and hopefully getting more clients and building a global brand. Marketing is the catalyst to you having a growing business. So when I look at people's strategies and the things they've been deploying, I like to remind them that before there was marketing, there was common sense. Before all the fancy websites and the Facebook ads and the automated emails, and before the sales scripts and all the different marketing tactics that you have been told over the last many, many months or years or decades, there was common sense. If you had a loaf of bread to sell, you would look around. Who is in the community? Who doesn't make bread? You go knock on their door and sell to them. Now, I'm not saying we live in the same world that we did many, many decades ago, many centuries ago, but we need to root back into those principles. It's like we've totally forgotten about them. We've totally been brainwashed into thinking that signing up for a software that costs $4,000 a year that promises this very specific outcome and that requires reaching out to very cold traffic, people you've never met before, that's not the simplest way to grow a business. Why have we forgotten these time-honored principles? So it's interesting because just earlier today, I jumped on the phone with someone, as I often do in the day, and I get to know them and their business, and I like to hear about what's going on. And I had a lady who, she owns a yoga studio here in Toronto, and she's also starting a coaching business. And she gets on the phone with me and she says, you know what, I finally realized that blogging doesn't work. Podcasts are stupid. Posting on Instagram is a waste of time. She goes, all I need is one funnel. I need to run a lot of money into a Facebook ad, and then I'll have clients. And I'm sitting there thinking, if your blog, your podcast, your Instagram posts, and she's saying she doesn't get any clients at her yoga studio from referral. I'm like, if none of those are working, do you really think the answer is in running a totally complicated Facebook ads funnel and somehow attracting people who don't even know what your business is about and bringing them into the studio cold? Do you think that's going to be more effective than working on these more organic forms of marketing where you already have people following you? Maybe the content that you're posting is not very good. And it just reiterated to me that, you know, there is always a shiny dangling carrot in front of us in the marketing world. And in her case, she just invested $10,000. I know who this coach is, and the system, you can read about it on the internet. And I felt like shaking her and going, if nobody's paying attention to you, it's probably because your content isn't good enough. Your marketing strategies are not connecting with your dream clients, right? And so that really fired me up to teach you this training today, where I'm going to share the 7 principles that have been around since the dawn of time, that even though this lady that I talked to pretty much squashed on all of them in our conversation, I'm standing here today to remind you that you cannot replace the origin of what works when it comes to selling a product. So I hope you're intrigued and want to know more. So I'm going to skip through. So selling with force is not something that I'm going to teach you today. I'm not going to get to the root of what you're suffering with and then try to sell you out of your hell. I'm not going to use scarcity or urgency. These are very traditional marketing tactics. You'll have to go to another training for that. The problem with these marketing tactics is that they are short-lived. When you sell someone through a cold funnel, they're not going to refer you because they're going to feel ripped off. If you haven't laid a strong foundation by writing transformative content and applying your proven strategies for your business and getting case studies from your clients, then your business or your success is short-lived. When you stop running the Facebook ad, all of a sudden your business stops generating leads. That success is short-lived. That is not what I'm teaching you today. So I want to bring you back home to the answers that are already inside of you. I want to bring you back home to the reason why you have made the purchasing decisions you have. Look around you. You bought the lamp, you bought the desk, you bought the coaching program, you bought the book. Why? Why did you buy all of those things? For the most part, it probably wasn't the Facebook ad. So we're coming back home to the strategies that are actively being applied in our lives and making us spend our dollars. So this training is going to cover the 7 principles that I've shared with many of Canada's largest health food brands, many coaching clients, many people I've had the privilege of working with. Like I said, these are very time-honored strategies and definitely the no BS approach that I'm passionate about. This is not a prescription or a formula, okay? I don't believe in 7-step systems, 12 steps to this, overhaul your business in 3-step, you know, all that stuff is great. But if you don't do the system exactly right, it breaks down and you think you did it wrong. There's no wrong way to do marketing, you guys. It is completely up to you to put on your marketing hat, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, and to do it in a way that feels good. So I'm not giving you a prescription or formula, but I'm going to give you a lot to think about and lots of examples too. So keep your brain on, because this is not too much of a passive training. You'll want to stay actively engaged. So I'm going to start with some statistics just to lay the foundation. So word of mouth is not dead. And we know that because 92% of consumers believe suggestions from friends and family more than from an advertisement. 92%. So if you tell me that Coke is better than Pepsi, and then there's a commercial that says Coke is better than Pepsi, I'm thinking of your voice, okay? So there's so much power in word of mouth. So do you have a word of mouth strategy, right? If I told you Facebook ads were the solution, you'd probably go hire a Facebook ad strategist. What about word of mouth? 74% of consumers identify word of mouth as a key influencer in their purchasing decisions. 74%. So when you look at what's around you, oftentimes there was a conversation that preceded you pulling out your credit card. Overall, the average conversion rate for Facebook ads is between 9 to 10%, and that would be somebody giving you their email or opting in some sort of way to a webinar or a training. But then the conversion to an actual sale is down to about 1 to 2%. So what we know from that is that Facebook ads, they are not the solution. And I say that because as a marketer, people come to me all the time and they're like, I think I'm just gonna run Facebook ads. I'm like, okay, but at a 1 to 2% conversion rate, I would rather work on word of mouth strategy with you. So what drives the other 87% when we know that only 13% of consumers make purchases because of ads? So if only 13% of consumers are actually making purchases because of ads, what drives the other 87%? Because it's not an advertisement. It's going to be in some of the principles I shared today. Another stat, 57% of clients choose to do business with you because of good customer service. And I don't know if you've ever thought of this before, but customer service is marketing. The way you jump on a Zoom call with someone, the way you enroll them into your program, the way you treat them before and after the class or before and after the sale. That's marketing, that's branding, that's a touch point where you have the option to be a remarkable business. So if people choose to do business with you because your energy, your customer service is excellent, and you can be a customer service department of one, I sure am. If you don't have a customer service strategy of how you're going to surprise and delight your customers, again, perhaps you're missing out. And this is a stat that I want to end on, that pushy sales tactics deter 84% of buyers. Now, I have the sourcing for all of these stats, so if anyone wants to see where they came from, I didn't make them up. But that means that's kind of the death of the traditional masculine marketing approach. And my history in taking some of these courses has really confirmed that that is not how I want to move forward in marketing my business, especially because not only does it deter my clients or my potential customers, it also kind of deters me from wanting to sell. So I hope to instill in you today that we are in the rise of visionary marketing, doing it your way, being a self-expressed marketer, finding a formula that works for you, that feels good for you, and that is aligned with your business's vision and your business's core value. So here we go. We're going to get into the 7 principles, and I hope that they reignite the approach you take towards your marketing strategy. And we're going to see that these 7 principles are innovative. So they are modernized, but they are time honored. They've been around for a while, okay? So here we go with principle number 1. So the first principle that I want to talk to you about today is the relationships recipe. So think for a moment, how much of your weekly work time is spent building relationships and connecting with new people, as well as reconnecting with past leads and nurturing the rest of the people in your pipeline? How much of your productive work week are you spending on these tasks? And if no answer comes to mind, it might be because it's not enough. So my suggestion to you is to prioritize relationship building. If you're not constantly extending the reach of your relationship, so I meet you and then you introduce me to someone else and then I join this new community and then I take part in another mastermind. If you're not growing that network of people that you can share your business with, then you're going to hit a wall. Unless you have a sales force, which I know most people on the call and most people watching on Facebook, you don't have a team. You have a team of one. So make sure that you are actively building relationships every single day, 25% of your work week. And I know that feels scary to a lot of people. It's like, what do you mean? Like, how do I get a return on investment on relationship building? You can't calculate that necessarily, but you'll see a spike in sales because your network is growing, more people are interested in your product. So no matter what industry you are in, I can tell you with certainty that you are in the business of building relationships. Think about that for a moment. What you think you do is that you're a nutritionist. What you really do is you have a relationship with someone and you guide them towards better food choices. So what do you think you do? What do you really do? Because what you really do definitely involves building a lasting relationship. Why do we think Starbucks is so successful with the writing the names on the cup? That is one small way that they can deepen relationships with their customers. People love seeing their name written. It makes them feel heard. It makes them feel seen. When somebody asks you your name and you get to respond back, there's a little dopamine hit there. It's like, oh, wow, my barista actually cares about me. So simple, but yet there is something intrinsic that happens when we grab that cup and our name is on it. It builds a relationship. Some of you may know this brand. It's called Four Sigmatic, and they make mushroom powders. They have blown up. It started in Finland, and now it's all over North America. They make many products. One of the neatest things that when I was in nutrition school 8 or 9 years ago, I remember the founder, he was popping into these Facebook groups that I was a part of, these holistic wellness Facebook groups. And he was saying, and like, he's like a big shot right now, but 9 years ago, nobody really knew who he was. They had just started the company. And he's popping into Facebook groups being like, hey, I'm coming from Finland to Toronto. Does anyone want to meet for tea at this tea house on Bathurst Street? And I think most people were like, who the heck is this person? And he kind of said, I have this brand. It was called Four Sigma at the time. And I had a few friends that went. And what the founder did was he took them out for tea. He explained why he started the brand. And each time he came back to Toronto, he took these people, the same crew, out for tea or out for coffee, and they just continued to have this circle. And what was really interesting was that he wasn't just doing this in Toronto. He was doing this in every major city around the world, whether it was in California, whether it was in somewhere in Australia. He had these pockets of people that he really nurtured deep relationships with, and those people became the front line of his brand within our cities. They would talk about their experience with this guy, and they'd be like, I have this Finnish friend, and they'd be snapping photos of it. And they truly acted as brand ambassadors because he spent the time just building relationships. It's so simple, and that was the grassroots start of Four Sigmatic. Something that we can all do is tap into the Facebook groups that we are a part of. People underestimate the power of using Facebook groups where you're able to zap yourself into a community of people where there's a common thread. So as opposed to me going out to a vegan dinner, I could just go into the Facebook group called Vegans of Toronto and start networking right away. Like, it's that easy. At the click of a button, you can start building relationships by getting into conversation. So don't just scroll, comment, engage, stop creeping, start commenting. This is relationship building. It doesn't just have to be in the physical realm. So to wrap up this principle, I want you to think about the types of communities, the groups, and the networks that your dream clients are already a part of. Where do your dream clients hang out? Like, do they hang out at the juice bar? Are they hanging out at like monthly women's circles? Are they hanging out at the, I don't know, the crystal shop? And then once you think about all those places, I want you to circle 3 and make it your mission to show up in those places with value over the next 72 hours, okay? So maybe you pop into that Vegans of Toronto group and you share the most delicious vegan burger recipe that you just created. Show up with value, because somebody's gonna see your post, somebody's gonna comment on it, somebody's gonna add you as a friend, somebody's gonna wonder, oh, I wonder if she does nutrition. You know, there's always something that could come of that. So that's the relationships recipe in a nutshell. 25% of your time spent building relationships for the rest of your business career. Another suggestion, you could just add 10 new people to Instagram per day. Start a meaningful conversation with all 10 of them based on a photo that they recently posted. Go in and like their most recent 3 photos. Like, do something rather than just scrolling sheepishly, okay? That's my tip. All right, so the next concept, the second principle we're going to talk about is the art of fascination. So you are fascinating. Can we all agree on that? You are fascinating. And you're fascinating when you're yourself in a sea of so much noise. Isn't that crazy to think about? That so many people are acting as imposters or they're copycatting, that just by you showing up as yourself, you potentially will fascinate people at the realistic approach you have towards your business and your marketing. So I want to ask you a few questions here. Do you think your dream clients are drawn to your work? Like, are they intrigued with what you do? Do people express interest in the vision that you're bringing to life? Is there a certain energy that follows you around everywhere you go, making it impossible for people to ignore you? And don't worry, I don't say all these to be like, yes, everything's perfect and dandy, but these are things to ponder. Are you more interested in others than yourself? Something so simple is not being self-centered, and in being inquisitive about someone else's life makes you fascinating to someone else. And is your vision greater than your ego? Is the vision that you have for this business greater than the ego that's telling you, play small, don't do that, don't share the real you, don't open up to this person, okay? Those are a few things to reflect on. You'll find that as you really start to think about what it is about your business that's different, that shines brighter, and this is totally a journey. It doesn't come to all of us right away. But when you figure out that special sauce that only you have, and maybe that's just you being 100% you, you'll find that you are magnetic. You will attract clients. And I don't say this in a woo-woo, like totally spiritual way. I mean that literally. When people see you stepping into who you really are, we're going to talk about this in another principle. And when you're more interested in them than yourself, and when you are confident in the unique message you share, you start to attract people without even trying. You want to look at your content, your website, your social media Like it could be a black hole for somebody who just meets you. Like they're gonna see all these little clues and cues and find this amazing content the deeper they go in your blog, and they're gonna read a nugget of information way back on your Instagram page. And so I want you to leave those clues right now. You're fascinating because of your evolution. You're not fascinating because you're perfect. So can you give that treasure hunt feel to your content? This is supposed to be fun. Marketing is fun. The more truth you tell, the more caring you are, the more you show up in service of others, people think, is this too good to be true? Because most people walk around totally self-absorbed. So if you're fascinated in other people, if you're more interested than interesting, I guarantee you that magnetism will start. So I'm going to leave that one there. It's something that I want you to think about after this masterclass and beyond. What makes you fascinating? Because we are all fascinating, okay? It's not like am I interesting? It's you have to dust off that limiting belief and realize you are a completely unique human being. There's no one like you, so let's dust off those shells that have built up and figure out what makes you different. All right, principle number 3 is the shareability scorecard. Okay, this is a marketing principle that is so good, especially in the age of social media. Okay, so this rests on the belief that the easiest way to grow your business is for your customers to do it for you. How interesting is that? The easiest way to grow your business is for your customers to do it for you. So if I leave a restaurant here in Toronto and I just had like the best meal ever, and I walk out and I look and I've taken photos of all the appetizers I had and the entrees, and then I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. I need to share this. And I upload all the stories to my Instagram, and then my friends DM me and they're like, whoa, that salad looks amazing. And oh my God, that chocolate lava cake looks like it's to die for. And I'm like, yeah, I got it at this restaurant on Queen West. And all of a sudden I'm being an advocate on behalf of the restaurant that I just dined at. So that's a very simple concept to share the shareability scorecard. Have you made any strategic operational choices that make your business shareable? What makes you talkable? What makes your classes or your products or your services referable? Is anybody out there talking about you when you're not? That's the goal, right? We want to make sure there are shareable components. We want to make sure that maybe there's a referral strategy, right? You get on a call with someone and you're like, hey, let's see if my program's a fit. And at the end, whether it's a fit or not, maybe you say, do you know anyone else who is on a similar journey to you? I'd love to talk with them. So shareability is huge, and it's something that not many people think about, but how do I want to say this? You could grow exponentially if you have an army of people talking about your services in comparison to you thinking that you are the marketer, you are the spokesperson, you are the only representative. Like, we have to think, do you want this to be a company that employs you full-time? And for many of us, that is, that's not what we want. We tried to get out of that hustle of the corporate world. Or do you want to prepare anyone who has encountered your services to be able to shout it from the rooftops? Because that's exponential growth. That's not you, a slave to the clock, constantly posting, talking about your services, etc. So let me share some interesting examples of what makes brands talkable or shareable. Now, many of you might know the Cheesecake Factory. Now, they have made some strategic choices that make their brand shareable. They have a menu that is this massive novel, okay? People talk about how big the menu is there. They also talk about how big the portion sizes are there. And that leaves everybody with this silly little bag. So if you go anywhere with the Cheesecake Factory, you'll see hundreds of people walking out of the restaurant with the bag. They're walking down the main strip. And of course, your eyes are going to glance there and go, oh, they went to Cheesecake Factory. That is marketing. That is a strategic choice that gets people sharing that they dined at the Cheesecake Factory, because everyone can't eat their portion, so they all have to take leftovers home. Another shareable, talkable moment that a brand did really well. You might know the company Blend Tech. They make a really high-powered blender. And they had this YouTube series many, many years ago called Will It Blend? And they started it to entertain people. But what happened is, as they started blending iPads and cell phones and all sorts of weird stuff, people started sharing it. It went viral. So you can see how if this man, who's the founder of Blend Tech, if he was just standing in one health food store every day and being like, would you like to try a Blend Tech? Do you want to buy a Blend Tech? The company wouldn't have grown so fast. But he got on YouTube, started blending crazy stuff, and their sales skyrocketed. He became known for this series, and they became a wildly successful blender company. Something else that you could do to make it shareable is just treat your customers with a very unique experience, okay? This is gonna look different for all of you. But imagine if you had a boutique clothing store and you invited everyone for this secret shopping party. Maybe you choose like 5 of your top customers and you do something that's exclusive. There's wine, there's a band, and it's very Instagrammable. And you get people in there and they share it forward for you, okay? It makes it feel like I'm here, nobody else is, I wanna share this. So just wanted to share some ideas with you. Another way to share your content forward is to come up with your own branding system. So when I teach concepts from the visionary method, like the 1 in 5 method, this is something that others can then share forward. So when I teach the students can then go teach their friends if the concept resonates with them. So branding your stuff and making sure it's shareable is really helpful. So my challenge to you is to see which parts of your business are talkable, shareable, or referable. And if there's nothing quite yet, gotta get brainstorming. All right, one of my absolute favorite principles is the Experiential Expo. So this would be the can I take a test drive for all of us. So experiential marketing is a strategy that captures the attention of your dream clients using immersive, engaging, and branded experiences. So rather than trying to just sell at people, I want you to focus on giving people a remarkable experience. Maybe that is involving a trial of your product. Can they come try a free class? Can they try a sample size of your product? Can they have a free Zoom call with you to get to know you? How are people experiencing your brand before they put their credit card on the line? Because once you have that experience with someone, you have an emotional connection. And once you have an emotional connection, the path to a sale is so much easier, okay? Why do you always buy items at Costco after you try them? As like you take a bite, you're like, oh, this cookie's great, or this protein bar is great. The next thing you know, you have a box of them in your cart. That is kind of experiential marketing at its simplest form. I always talk about the Pepsi Taste Challenge. This would be an example of a very extravagant form of experiential marketing, where there's a street team, they invite you into the Pepsi tent, you're trying Pepsi versus Coke, there's music playing. But guess what? We all have the ability to create something similar to this Pepsi Taste Challenge. Maybe it's a quiz somebody takes with you. Maybe it's a private strategy session. Maybe it's being able to opt in for a sample in the mail. I don't care what it is. I just want you to think of how people can experience your offer. Because you might have a whole fleet of people who are kind of intrigued with working with you, but because they haven't had a sample, they can't actually pull the trigger yet, right? So running a Facebook ad at them is not going to convert them because they're still waiting for that trial period. They want to take a test drive of the car before buying it. So what do you offer? For me, I offer people to come on my weekly coaching call, the Visionary Method. And if they want to try it, I say, come on over. I'm not going to sell you a program, a coaching experience, a mastermind that you don't feel aligned with. So come sit in on the call for 60 minutes. If you hate it and if you get no value out of it, that's all good. You had an experience and it wasn't for you. But if you love it, if you felt supported in the community, if you learned something, you are likely then to want to sign up as a member and to be immersed in this community of support. So that is the Experiential Expo. So what can people do to test drive your offer? Okay. And you know, all of these things, I'm happy to brainstorm with people because I love talking about this. Now let's talk about the Productization Principle. Another one that I really enjoy. So hopefully I've still got you all with me. Here's the concept behind the Productization Principle. We need to see it to believe it. So one of the best books that I've ever read about marketing is called Selling the Invisible, and by Harry Beckwith. And he says, we trust what we can see and we are suspicious of what we hear. So because so many of you are service-based businesses, I'm going to speak to you right now. You have the near impossible task of showcasing your offer in a way that your clients will hopefully understand, but you're using your words. You're like, here's how you will feel after you work with me, or here is what a yoga class consists of. But in their mind, they still don't really understand what is that experience. So what we want to do as service providers is actually productize something that's invisible, or make a visible item out of something that is invisible. Your coaching package is invisible. You tell me there's 6 sessions. You tell me I'll have my life's purpose afterwards. You tell me that I'm going to do a goal setting exercise with you. Okay, but like, I still don't really understand. What am I getting? Can I hold something? Can I try it on? Can I take it off the shelf? No, I can't. So how do we overcome that? So one thing that I teach inside of the Visionary Method, and I'm happy to expand on this with any of you, is to come up with a visual model of your magic. How can you put what you do into a visual representation? This is like marketing 2.0, but I promise you it is a game changer. The moment that your prospective clients can actually see the framework with a visual, they will feel so much more at ease in what they're buying. Now, this is my model. Yours does not have to look anything like it. You may have a pyramid, kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You may have a line, a straight line, that kind of says, we'll start here with the initial call. We'll then do 4 sessions and we'll end with a review. Doesn't matter what yours looks like, but you have to think, how can I make a visual out of the magic that I'm about to provide someone? So I want you to think, do your dream clients understand exactly which milestones they will hit when they invest with you? Like, even if it's just coming for a personal training session, do they know that when they arrive, you'll do an initial assessment? When you get started, there's going to be a 12-minute warm-up, and then you're going to do a series of 18 exercises to get the heart rate up and to build your maximum strength. I would rather see that than for a personal trainer that says, I'll just follow you around the gym for 60 minutes and, you know, we'll see what comes of it. Like, that doesn't give me confidence to spend my money with you. So how can you make a visual model of your offer and productize your service? Okay, 2 more principles. So stick with me here. What time am I at? Oh, I've been talking a lot. Okay, I'm going to breeze through these. So the self-expressed marketer. So be yourself to reach your potential. So an often untold truth of business is that your business will actually grow exponentially as you become more fully self-expressed, as you rip off those layers, dust off those limiting beliefs and those cloaks that you have been putting on for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, okay? And as you tap into the quirky qualities and the crazy life experiences and the unique magic that only you possess, you can actually look at your existing marketing efforts. Like maybe you're showing up on Instagram stories and you're creating ebooks. And then you can be like, you know what? This actually isn't me. Like the way I designed this ebook, I don't even like it. It's not the colors that speak to me. I want it to be more edgy. I want it to be more intense. Or maybe with your Instagram stories, you're like, no, like I dance around my house all the time. I'm going to show people dancing. Really give them the behind the scenes look at who I really am. I want them to feel connected to the real me, not the fake version of me. Someone who does this really well and who rose to complete stardom is Lady Gaga, right? She was not the normal celebrity, but because she was so self-expressed, she's wearing neat dresses, she's constantly got crazy makeup. For her, this was her music. It's an expression of her. Artists are amazing for this, right? Like the more they self-express, the more incredibly powerful their music is. We are all artists too. We create. And you can't create your best work if you're not really unleashing like the deepest parts of you. Again, sounds kind of crazy, but it works. Another person I love to follow on Instagram is the Birds Papaya. You guys might know her. She is a local, but went from like 0 to 2 million followers in the last couple of years, all by talking about her body journey and essentially sharing some really raw captions, some awesome photos. And she was one of the first people to really enter this kind of like body, I don't know if she calls it body positivity movement, but she did it her own way. She didn't build her Instagram like everybody else was doing, and it shows, right? People were attracted to her messaging. So that's the productization, or sorry, that's the self-expressed marketer. And the last principle, I'm sorry that I'm going so fast, is that there is a 10x challenge for you. Clients do not hire you for your average performance and your average vision. I can guarantee you that. They are not hiring you. Whoops. Oh no, I lost my screen. There we go. They're not hiring you for your average performance and average vision. So think about, what is your unique brilliance? How can we double down on showcasing that to the world? Because that is going to be your 10x factor. So your industry is probably a commodity. Like there are many nutritionists out there. There are many Reiki practitioners. There are many people who, you know, are personal trainers. But how you come at your industry and the unique brilliance that you bring really help to amplify the way in which you stand out. That is your 10x. So as business owners, there's always a reason why we decided to leap into this journey of sharing our gift with others. Yet we often become so caught up in the daily grind that we forget to keep dreaming big. We forget to pursue that greater vision. So with the 10X challenge, I want you to think about what makes you stand out and start to amplify it, okay? Talk about that more in the way you communicate your offer. Make sure that when people think of your unique business, they know exactly why it stands out. And when they compare you to others in your industry, it's not even a comparison because you've put yourself in a league of your own. I love this word. It's called, or it's inimitable. It's a tough one to say. And it means so good or unusual as to be impossible to copy. So I want us all to be inimitable, a word that I have trouble saying, and to be impossible to copy, because that gives us a 10x advantage over everyone else. Then you're not competing over price. Then you're not competing over who has the better branding. Then you're not competing over who's got the fancy website. It's simply, I know what I'm good at. I've really doubled down on that. I know I'm here to be the most accessible business coach, or I know I'm here to be the most empathetic, like wedding officiant, whatever it is, okay? You need to think about what makes you stand out and then really go hard on it. And then think about this question as we wrap up. If all your business prayers were answered tomorrow, would it change anyone's life except for your own? If all your business prayers were answered tomorrow, would it change anyone's life except for your own? So here's the thing. If all your business prayers were answered and it would only change your life, that's wonderful. But I believe that means you're not dreaming big enough. If all your business prayers are answered and it impacts hundreds of people, thousands of people, entire communities of people, that is 10x thinking. That is what rises to the top. That's what changes the world. That's what spreads. So recalibrate your vision. All right, so that is it. Those are our 7 marketing mastery principles. Of course, I did not have time to go super deep and help each one of you apply them to your business, but I would encourage you to reach out with any questions. If you have any interest, if you're not yet involved in the visionary method, or if you've already been in business for a couple years, there's a brand new program that is launching called the Marketing Mastery Intensive. It starts mid-September, perfect for anyone who's already made their first 50,000 in business and is now trying to scale to that next level, which can be very tough, but I want to show you how to apply each of the 7 principles to your unique business. So we'll do that through the program. So reach out to me. Instagram's the best way, or you can email me hello@kelseyridle.com. And that is all for tonight. So if you're part of the ladies community, thank you for joining. If you're on Zoom with me, you guys are all the best. Thank you for keeping me motivated, have some faces in the classroom tonight. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.